Okay. By far, this is one of my favorite topics. And by far, this is one of my favorite panel discussions. Because you know what? These people rumble a little up here. The wide format people have skin in the game. And, you know, there's probably more discussion about processes in this area that maybe people don't all necessarily agree with. So this gets interesting sometimes. And everyone should just be themselves and everything will be fine. But it is my dream that one of these days there will be a rumble in the Printerverse and that will be the story. I'm not trying to cause one. I'm just saying if it happened, I wouldn't exactly stop it until at least I tweeted about it. I'm not stupid. So with that being said, Brian from Muto, long-time supporter of the Printerverse. You've been with us all 6 years. You guys print my banners every year, so thank you so much for your support, first of all, and your dedication to sharing information and resources with the people out there in the Printerverse. Who are you? What do you do? Sir, I can use this one. Sir, I can use this one. Who are you? Check. Who are you? What do you do? And how are you helping your customers make money? And Tom, if you could just pass Brian the microphone, please. No, it's mine. Mine. And you can pull it out of the thing. Oop.
Can I just
I
talk
won't
like
say
this?
that's what she said.
Is this all right? Yeah.
No, pull
Don't
it
go
out
there.
of there. Oops, I got to stop saying that. Pull it out.
Okay, all right.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Oh, God. That's what you said.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Phipps. I'm the president of Muto America. We make wide format printers and cutters. And what'd you say? How are we?
How are you helping your customers make money?
Well, the best way we do it is we have a great suite of products ranging from 24 inches all the way up to 8 feet wide. And we accompany that with a great support network of service and training. So not only do you get a great product, but you get a whole training package to learn how to make money. So that's a big part of it, is the training side.
Thank you so much.
You're
Tom
welcome.
Wittenberg from HP. Who are you? What do you do? And how are you helping your customers make money?
Okay, I'm Tom Wittenberg. I'm the large format marketing manager for the sign and decor segment in the Americas. And I focus primarily on latex. And at HP, as Brian said, we too also have a large lineup, a complete portfolio of products. We like to look ahead and see what are the markets that can be developed to help our customers grow and look for the ones that have the higher profitability. We also are developing workflow systems that allow you to manage your business and your printing much more effectively across not just one but all of your printers. And then finally, in terms of training, we want to make sure customers are aware of what latex can do for them. So we have academies usually on a monthly basis throughout the year.
Thank you so much. Matt, who are you? What do you do? And how are you, is GPA helping customers make money?
Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Buckley. I am the product director for wide format media for GPA. We're a distributor of specialty substrates, and we spend most of our time helping our customers pick the right media for an application, focus on the right products to fit what their customer's looking for, hopefully exceed those expectations, and get them to come back and be a repeat customer for that product.
Thank you so much. Feldman from Avanti, a software company. What is a software company doing on a wide format panel, and how do you help your customers make money?
Well, my name is Steve Feldman. I work for Avanti Systems. Our role in the whole wide format space is really supporting customers in their whole print workflow. So everything from estimating all the way through to invoicing, all the abundance of inventory that is required for all these different wide format, large format jobs. We give you a line of sight in being able to really understand where your costs are, the amount of time, the amount of expenditure that's there to help you really focus on not just the bottom line, but also really focus on growing your business and being able to get estimates out as quickly as possible.
Thank you so much. Dan, oh, and let me just go back for a second. HP has been in my alliance for the last 6 years as well. They printed my emergency patch on my, I had a typo on my own banner on my own website. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That's why print customers cannot be trusted with their files. So who didn't catch my mistake, damn it? And also, we had a very enjoyable Saturday afternoon because I had an air pump, but it broke to blow up all the aliens. And I was pretty much freaking out and looking for Dick's Sporting Good. And the minute I was doing the search for Dick's Sporting Good, you could imagine what I was dealing with for like the first 4 pages of Google. And I was pretty much having a stroke. When am I going to get these inflatables? And Sarah Markfield walked by and said, you know, I think the Indigo has an air hose on it. And I was like, what? So I went over there, and HP allowed me to blow up all of these aliens on their Indigo press. So the Printerverse is inflated by HP. So thank you so much, Tom. And Tom, we had a little fun during that as well. And I always have fun with Tom. And so I just want to thank you so much for being in the Alliance. GPA as well. They're the official substrate of the Printerverse. They've been with us since day one. All the printed materials you see here are on their substrates, and they actually dealt with the printers and got it printed for all of us. I mean, this is a full-service freaking partnership I have with GPA. They are amazing. And by the way, last year I went with a few of them to an escape room, like one of those escape room things. If there is an apocalypse, you will find me at GPA. These people were on the floor doing Dewey Decimal Systems to get codes out of library books. And I'm like, I was just standing there like, oh no, they've got it. And we got out of that room because of GPA. So they are the MacGyvers of the paper industry. Avanti as well, I just want to thank you. This is your 3rd year. Thank you so much. And now we get back to Rico. Sorry, I had to do a little recap there, a little retroactive appreciation. Rico, this is actually your 2nd year in the Alliance. Well, no, we're going to say 3 because you had 1 year that you were off, and then you came to your senses and you came back. So Dan Johansson, who are you, what do you do, and how is Rico helping customers make money?
So I don't know how to follow that at all, by the way. It's a great setup. So I'm Dan Johansson. I'm a marketing manager for wide format solutions for Rico. So our focus is really on trying to help our customers expand their business with their customers, but also find new opportunities for growth, new customers, new products to offer through wide format solutions particularly. At Rico as well, we're also looking and working with our in-plant customers to use wide format to take costs out of their business versus outsourcing. An exciting time for us, so thanks for having us. Appreciate
Thanks so much. Really, really appreciate it. And take a look at Rico. Look at Rico. Okay, Brian. So every Wednesday, 4 o'clock, I host a print chat, and I ask them what they were interested in, and that from those answers, I formulated the topics of the Printerverse panels. Once I had the topics of the Printerverse panels, I went back to the community, and I said, okay, what would you ask a panel of experts on these topics? So I do have, all my questions are actually from the people, because I'm just the ambassador, that's what I do. I have access, I take their information, and I just am an information dam, so to speak. Although my floodgates are always open, baby. So I have to tell you that the print chatters are very skeptical about wide format being a true growth market and not just some hype from all of you guys to sell more equipment, quite frankly. So what they want to know is, why is wide format so topical now? And where is the true opportunity for commercial printers? Is it new, or has it been there all along, just unrealized? So I'm going to start with Brian.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So wide format's been around for decades, and it has always been a pretty good opportunity. What's different this year and of recent years is that the applications and the inks and the printers have become more sophisticated. So, for example, we have 22 different printers now when in fact we used to only have a few. So what's changed is you can now print on just about anything. And the media companies have developed medias for, as you know, doing car wraps, floor wraps, banners. You can now print on fabric. You can print on rigid substrates. You can go to Home Depot and buy just about anything and print on it, tiles, whatever. So where now your imagination is the limit instead of the printer or the materials that you're printing on used to be the limit. It wasn't long ago that you would print on a vinyl that didn't have a air regress way for the air to get out from underneath the vinyl, and it was very difficult to put it on anything, whether it be a car or a floor or a wall. Now the technology's come a long way. Same with fabrics. Now there's fabrics you can buy that you can run through the printer, and you can make really nice banners and backdrops like you see here at this show. A lot of the trade show booths are done with fabric now. And again, the UV technology where you can print directly on glass or metal or whatever. So what's really changed is the fact that you can get a very high quality output, a printer that will print on a variety of substrates, and the pricing is very attractive. And then lastly, of course, you need to be able to get trained on it and learn how to use it and how to make money. So it's never been easier ever since I've been doing this for 20 years to get in this business and make money. So don't let anybody tell you that wide formats, peaked or anything like that. We're growing every year, and there's always opportunities to make money and add that to your business.
Thanks so much, HP.
Okay, I would agree with everything that Brian said. I would also add that I think that as we look at a lot of the traditional printing markets, they've matured to the point that the margins have dropped and people are looking for different ways to make a good buck. And large format has traditionally been one of those ways. It's been around for a while. I know from working in the industry that there are some good margins to be had. Even in some of the commodity areas, in some senses, there are parts of the signage market that have become commoditized. There are ways with competitive advantages that you can actually make some good dollars. But it's true, your imagination is the only limitation in this market. It's whatever you want it to be. An example is we have a customer in Canada who sells doors. He prints on doors. That's his only business. And he buys them for $30, $40 each. And depending on what he does, he can sell them for upwards of $400 or $500. So he's figured out a way to just do something really simple. He does it 8 hours a day, loves his job, and makes a good buck. So, it's there. I think the other thing, too, is that in some senses, you don't have to go looking very far either. A lot of the substrates that are used in the commercial business can also be done in large formats. So you can make a fairly easy transition over to that to your customers and say, yeah, it's the same material we're using here, we're going to just do this. And there are opportunities even in things like decoration to move in and do some of the offices. And there are good margins there too and some really good growth rates.
Thank you so much. Matt.
Yeah, good points about equipment. So all these guys up here who manufacture equipment, they're making them bigger, faster, stronger. You get more durable graphics, easier to print, all that. And when we look at it on the substrate side, and I think I mentioned it a little bit, it's this idea that, why would we talk about wide format now is the substrates are doing the same thing. So as more and more things get embedded for substrates, there's changes to adhesives, changes to products, you increase your durability. Suddenly you can go on all these different types of surfaces. And so people are starting to think, I can reimagine spaces. I'm talking, we're going to cover walls, we're going to cover entire buildings, we're going to cover floors. We're going to go inside. We're going to go outside. All those types of things. To me, I think that's really what's driving this idea now that more commercial printers would want to be in that.
Thank you so much. Avanti.
Yeah, so we'll look at it from a slightly different perspective. With the multitude of different substrates that are available for large format printing and wide format printing, one of the things that our customers tell us is they want to understand their costs. They want to understand how they can maximize their margins, whether it be different materials for the same type of job, different presses that might be within their press pool. They want to know how they can focus on the growth of their business and being responsive. With the volume of the jobs being very high, the smaller quantities within the jobs, they need to be as flexible as possible and responsive. And the ability for them to see and understand their costs, maximize their margins, and grow their business is paramount to our customers' success.
Thank you so much. And I'm actually just going to repeat the question so tardy Randy has a time to think of an answer. He's lucky that I love him as much as I do. So the question, again, is why is wide format so topical now? Where is the opportunity for commercial printers, and is it new, or has it been there all along, just unrealized?
So I think it's been there all along, but it's really dependent on the printer themselves, because one of the things we've seen is, yet again, a year-over-year decline in profitability, traditionally in cut sheet commercial print. So the pressure continues. You know, the number of impressions in North America continues to be at the same level, but the number of people doing those impressions are shrinking, and the printers that are struggling for growing their business are looking for opportunities to add products, because at the end of the day, they know that their fastest route to improving revenue and profitability is to do more with their existing customers. And let's face it, most print buyers who are buying cut sheet anything are buying wide format from somebody, whether it's as simple as exhibition graphics for their trade shows or they're wrapping vehicles for their business. But there's almost always a universal overlay outside of just cut sheet for marketing. So it's a natural extension for commercial printers to serve those customers they're already serving and grow that wallet share. But if you're a cut sheet printer and you're looking to grow your customer base, you could go at it by going after other cut sheet work that your competitors are already serving. And at that point, you're just playing a price game and a commodity game with straightforward traditional commercial printing. Or you could expand the portfolio with new products and services. And the reason that wide format is more relevant now than it used to be is quite simply the cost of entry and the speed of the products allows for even a small commercial printer to add a pretty comprehensive wide format solution for a low threshold of entry and contribute, you know, profitable business in less than a couple of hours a day. So I don't think it's ever been more compelling for the commercial printer.
Thank you so much. Randy, why don't you start with who are you, what do you do, and then you can answer the question. Because you were late, Randy.
I know. I have to stand
Say
in
you're
the corner
sorry to the
after this.
Printerverse. Say you're sorry to the Printerverse.
My name is Randy Parr. I'm the marketing manager for the display graphics products for large format solutions at Canon. So yes, commercial printers. Interestingly, I was talking to a couple of printers earlier today, and they were looking at our flatbed printer saying, yeah, we want to get into wide format. And I said, so, well, why is that? And they said, well, you know, we've got a pretty good business. It's pretty stable, but it's not growing. And I said, well, exactly. So when you think about it, large format has large margins compared to pennies per sheet. It's dollars per square foot. And I think that has taken a while to catch on with people to actually wrap their heads around that they don't have to just be printing cut sheet stuff all the time. Those customers of theirs are actually buying wide format somewhere else. So wouldn't it be nice if they could just be a one-stop shop for their customers they already have, and offer them wide format printing? And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because not only do they have customers, they've got the skills that they've developed over years to do color management, to understand workflow, to deliver products on time. Adding wide format is really not that big a deal when it comes to having to figure out how to do it. You know, so really, I would say, if you're not doing it already, what's the problem? And if you do it, don't just focus on banners and posters. Even though that might represent the largest volume of wide format printing, it's also the lowest margin. It's a commoditized product. So really with the technology today, there's so much more you can do. Specialty applications that really actually can produce very good profits.
Thanks. Thanks. Okay, so the questions are now divided up amongst the manufacturers and then for GPA and Avanti. So for the manufacturers specifically, the print chatters want to know what advances have been made to your portfolio in 2016, and how has the technology impacted your customers, and if relevant, the industry. Would you want to start, Brian?
Sure, sure. So I'm happy to.
Can everybody hear Brian?
Can you hear me? All right. Dave, you hear me? All right.
Hey, Dave.
We've added several new printers. Specifically, some of the exciting ones is it's a model 626, which is a 19 by 23 inch flatbed UV printer, up to 5 inches thick. So you can print on just about anything that'll fit in there, which allows you to be very versatile in what you can offer your customers on specialty printing, for example. We've also added several new products in the dye sublimation. So again, printing on fabrics, but dye sublimation can also go onto coffee cups. It could go onto surfboards. You can transfer the image onto just about anything. So we've extended the breadth of our products, which has helped our customers grow. We were talking in our booth over here. A commercial printer who had wide format already, so he was a step ahead of a lot of people, but he had been told and been hearing about dye sublimation, and that's a different process altogether. The color management is different. The way you transfer the image to the substrate is different. It's used with a different type of ink, a different type of process with heat and pressure. So you have to learn a whole new series of steps to be able to do dye sublimation. But with that comes an opportunity that you're going to be different than your competitor in a lot of cases, and that'll allow you to own more of your customer, that instead of them having to go somewhere else for that product, they can get it all from you, and then you can be more of a complete solution for your customer, and we, as the manufacturers up here, can help you figure that all out.
Thanks so much. HP. What advances have been made to your portfolio in 2016, and how has the technology impacted your customers, and if relevant, the industry?
Okay, so this year was a very different year for us. We did expand the line with print and cut, and it's a different print and cut, if you will. It involves a printer and a cutter so that you're able to print and cut at the same time. So that gives you basically the full use of a printer the entire time, and if you want, the full use of a cutter, so you don't have to choose between the two. We've also done some fairly significant change outs on some of our larger equipment and substantially increased the reliability of our 3000 series printers, and that just occurred recently. So it's going to help with the maintenance, not that the printers were having problems with maintenance, but it's just that they're going to last longer and able to run 24/7. We also expanded ourselves on the media line with Textiles, and this is kind of new for us. We've got, I'll say, a medium-sized offering, but what it means is that you can use latex for textiles. They have excellent crock test results. As a matter of fact, it's extremely close to dye sublimation. So the rub resistance is very good in a lot of these products. And what that means is that you don't need to invest in dye sub. If you've got a latex printer, you can expand into textiles without new technology.
Thanks so much. Rico.
So it's an easy one for us to answer, since specifically for wide format, it's been relatively new for us in the last few years. So for us, it's a response to demand by our customers for us to help them. So in the last few years, it's been pretty rapid. We've introduced a roll-to-roll latex device with our Pro L series, and through partnerships with companies that we work deeply with, both on the printhead side of our business and also with device development. We've also brought flatbed devices from Emaki to market and been quite successful with those. And just this year, this is our first national showing of our partnership with EFI, where we're showing our relationship with them through the hybrid devices. So we look at wide format as very complementary to the business we already do with our customers. And so we're going to look to continue to expand that. SGIA next month will feature some enhanced additions to the portfolio as we roll out solutions for finishing. But we're looking to offer a full solution for the customer. So it, again, continues to be exciting for Ricoh.
Thanks so much. Canon.
Yes, so we've continued coming out with new Arizona models last year into this year as well. And basically the changes have been a couple of things. Improvements in productivity, certain features that improve productivity, as well as finally actually introducing light-colored inks. We've won, 50 awards for primarily image quality, but that was using 4 colors. So we, by adding the extra colors now, we've increased the quality even further without having to redesign a whole new product from scratch. So some of these incremental changes, they're maybe unnoticed because they're incremental, but from the operator standpoint, simple things like pneumatic registration pins, so you can quickly load a board, because the printers are getting faster. It's getting more and more difficult for an operator to find enough time to do all the things and remain productive. So registration pins is one thing, automated maintenance so that they don't have to put rubber gloves on and get a swab and clean printheads. They just pick which color they want to clean and hit a button, and it's done in seconds. So those sort of things over the space of maybe an 8-hour shift can start actually improving the productivity. From the cutting side, we've also just recently released a very cool automation option for our OSE Pro Cut. It's called Autopilot, which is just a camera system that looks at the table, and when you put a job on there with a certain special optical registration mark, the cutter automatically starts cutting it with the right tools that are loaded and cuts to jobs. It could be mixed jobs. So really, what that means, you don't need a skilled operator necessarily, especially in a 3-shift environment. You might have one specialist that knows how to configure the whole device. The next 2 shifts can be low-skilled, low-paid operators, so the owner is actually saving money, and all this person has to do is just put boards on the table and they get cut, right? So things like that, taking a different approach, because there's a lot of ways to be productive, there's a lot of ways to save money, and there's a lot of ways to really keep your number of employees required to a manageable limit. But
Randy,
I would say...
Did you get to the Colorado yet?
I'm saving the best for last.
Okay, let's get to it so we can move on.
UV gel technology was something that we introduced last year, and this year now we've rolled out the Colorado 1640. UV gel is a UV curable ink, but with a gel consistency, so there's no dot gain. It allows us to lay down all the ink before we cure it, which really enables us to reach speeds never before seen. Over 1,700 square feet per hour on a 64-inch roll printer. And we're just starting to roll these machines out, and the response has been incredible.
It really is. A lot of times it's standing room only around those presentations. It's very impressive technology as well. I saw the launch of it, and it's really up-close wide format printing, which you're not really used to as a print customer. You're used to telling everyone to stand 10 feet back to look at it, or there's going to be big dots and everyone's going to scream at you, and you're like, no, no, no. You don't look at a billboard like this. You look at one up on a building, and from up there it looks just fine. But it's kind of changed. All the manufacturers are focusing in on this up-close wide format printing, which means the quality is going up. Now, when the quality goes up and more people want to use it, obviously substrates come into play, and the Print Chatters had a lot of questions about substrates, Matt from GPA. So this is actually a combo question from Simple Sign Man, who actually he sells magnetic substrates, I'm pretty sure. Sandy Hubbard, Alan Dixon, and Kelly Malazzi, who was in the booth before. And they want to know, what substrate trends are you seeing in regard to wide format, and how much of a cost factor do these new substrates represent? And how can printers get designers samples, printers and designers get samples? I'm sorry, it's a combo question. They were very interested in substrates. You could take them one by one. What kind of trends are you seeing in wide format substrates?
So I think one of the biggest trends we see right now in wide format substrates, and it was mentioned a minute ago, is the idea of textiles and soft signage. So if you think, and you mentioned it, commercial printing, wide format printing, traditionally, stand 10 feet back and look at it. I mean, those days are over. These guys, like I said, they build them. They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, they get better every day. So we have a lot of interest right now in people printing on textiles. So this is, woven or knitted fabrics with a coating on it to accept ink. People be using that interior in place of banners. Designers like it. It doesn't have that plasticky feel to it. It's kind of soft, kind of airy, gives it a little bit different look to it. The other one we see all the time is canvas. Again, with the improvements that these machines have now, that fine art market that was kind of reserved for the higher end aqueous inkjet printers. A lot of our commercial printers are now able to mimic that with these type of things. So that's that. And then as people make improvements, floor and wall graphics have never gone away, but now that you have a lot of interesting materials like aluminum foils that can go outside and be floor or wall graphics, you're seeing significant improvements in durability. Now you can be talking up to a year or more. And that's a big change, and a lot of improvements to the floor graphics where the surface itself doesn't require a laminate. So those types of improvements on products are really what's trending now.
So I just want to point out that I love asking the trends of the paper companies, because this should clue the printers into where the money is being spent on wide format. So if they're looking for these outdoor applications, start looking around your neighborhoods to find outdoor applications, get these substrates and make some money. It's not that difficult. I don't mean to be, sound condescending about it, but just look around. There's opportunities for relevant print. I'm not just saying print for the sake of printing, but there's these paper companies are great resources for trends and stuff like that. Matt, I'm sorry, my little questions went off for a second, but let me just finish. The last part of it was, how can printers and designers get samples of what is available?
Yeah, so we sample all of our products. Most people will do, if you're talking about like a PSA film or whatever, you've got a small sample roll, and some of these new things are coming in sheets. But I think there was an earlier panel, and they talked about how do I get stuff, or how do I know when new stuff is coming? If you're not following all of these guys, all of us on social media, or getting their press releases or signing up for their email lists, that's where you're going to hear about these things as they make changes, as new things roll out. We do the same thing. We send out stuff fairly regularly that introduces new products, that talks about their features and benefits, gives you details, and always includes how you can get a sample or something to test.
So I have a question for Avanti, and then I'm going to open it up to Printers Row for a question. Specifically for you, Avanti, the question was asked, is the assessment of wide format workflow the same process as for general commercial print? And how is your software specifically helping printers increase their ROI with wide format printing?
In terms of our software, there are many similarities, yet there are also many differences. With wide format, there's a multitude of different substrates that some of them are not possible on other press types. So it's tracking all those substrates, finding the optimal costs for those substrates, being able to work with different vendors, different suppliers, and maximizing volume, quantity breaks, discount levels, and being able to track those very effectively. One of the other things that we also see is with all of the volume that comes in of these different types of jobs, you need to be very, very responsive. And one of the things that, in terms of we don't see as often in other markets, is that volume translates into much smaller print runs. So whether it be your bus wraps, whether it be your posters, they're not the 10,000 copies of a business card or something like that that's much simpler to run on. With the wide format, we provide visibility into what's going on the shop floor, being able to capture costs, time, labor, materials usage, and be able to utilize that for being able to support companies in predicting what their costs are going to be relative to how the market changes in terms of costs going up and down vis-a-vis oil prices going up and down, and how they affect the substrate costs. So the more information that I have at my fingertips, the better decisions I can make in terms of what do I acquire, what do I work on, and what substrates and processes can I use to be able to build out and maximize my revenue flow as well as my margins.
Thanks so much. Jamie, question?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just introduce you. So, as I mentioned, every Wednesday, 4 o'clock, we have Print Chat. And Jamie is actually one of the print chatters, and he's also a real printer. He works at Allegra Princeton. They're pretty much a one-stop print shop. They have a variety of equipment, which makes him a perfect candidate. He has no skin in the game. He's open to anything that works for him and his customers. So Jamie is here to specifically listen to panels and ask questions that a real printer would ask, because he's a real printer, so take it away.
Thanks, Deborah. Just looking to see, what are you guys seeing coming down the pike for like new finishing options, coatings, something like that? What's exciting that we can kind of reach out to our customers and say, this is coming, look for this?
Let me start with HP.
The one that comes to mind right offhand is we're seeing an uptick in requests for the print and cut. Very basic product, but a lot of people are now starting to see the value in the smaller decals, the different things that you can do to enhance, say, a normal product line, let's say window graphics for stores. You may be able to get into signage that way. So that's one that comes to mind. The other is for potentially things like heat presses, calendars, as you get more into textiles, depending on the technology that you're. Right.
Muto?
Yeah, some new stuff we've been seeing is some of the media companies have come out with unique overlaminates, so you can take a image and you can overlaminate with something that has a glitter effect to it, or a matte finish, or a gloss finish, or some different textures to it. So that's pretty interesting, because you can take that and put that on just about anything. Also, we have a printer line both in the eco-solvent UV for metallic inks and white inks and a varnish ink. And the neat thing is that can give you special effects. The metallic ink is really interesting, especially on, it's used a lot in labeling and different things and accents. On the UV side, you can do a varnish, and you can make special effects, like make it look like there's water on your image and stuff like that. So a lot of cool stuff going on with different ideas that are coming about.
Thanks so much. Rika?
So I think finishing in particular, especially as people start thinking about it as wide format finishing, is maybe one of the most critical components of a wide format workflow and wide format solutions, because there are a number of devices on the market that can put ink on things, and there's a plethora of substrates that we can print on, to the point where that's almost an endless selection right now. The question then becomes, how do I productize that, and how do I create a sellable product more than just the substrate in and of itself in a square shape, or using the size of the substrate? So I think digital finishing in the form of flatbed cutting technology, as people start to get into wide format, is probably just as critical as the wide format printing technology itself. Because when you look at applications that are outside of typical poster, banner, simple square signage, and you start getting into custom sizes, large sizes, unique substrates, the question becomes, what do I do with it once it's printed? And since higher margin products for printers in wide format tend to be in, let's call it, maybe non-traditional substrates like aluminum panels or acrylics or some of those things, you can print them all day long. But what do you do with it once it's printed? So I think in that vein, finishing as it relates to wide format finishing tables is probably the most important thing commercial printers should start thinking about, because it's only the print device itself is really only half the equation.
I've had this conversation before with the wide format manufacturers about that one of the biggest concerns is the printers don't understand the finishing aspect of it, like how it gets done. And I'm glad that you guys are starting to partner with people, because it makes more sense to me than being told, well, it's a lady with a sewing machine. I don't really know how this stuff happens. And I've been told this a million times. It's a lady with a sewing machine that's finishing the
It
banners.
is literally a lady with a
I
sewing
know,
machine.
I know that, but that can't be the solution here. I mean, we live in, I mean, really, the world is run by computers, but it's only one lady in a sewing machine controlling the wide format finishing market.
You'd be
I mean,
surprised for
who
a wide
is
format
she?
printer how
What's her
valuable a
name?
lady with a sewing
Where
machine.
Where does she live?
Yeah.
How many sewing machines does she have? Is she up all night? I mean, is she 109? Like, I'm sorry, I could just go on. Canon. I'm sure you have something to say about this.
Yeah, I do actually.
Let's keep it relatively American-sized, and then because I do want to ask one last question before we wrap it up, because the show's going to close.
Okay. We launched the Cronus Ultimate Stitching Machine, talking about the lady with the sewing machine. And interestingly, our vendor for the product said, you're better off hiring somebody off the street that knows nothing about stitching, because the technology these days, that lady with the sewing machine would be lost, because it is all getting computerized now. And really, it's not as difficult as print providers might think it is. It's actually quite easy to operate these pieces of equipment now. But getting back to the point about having a cutting solution for rigid boards, it's a must-have. Quite often we will have somebody come in for a printer demo, and we just happen to show them the flatbed cutter, and they go, oh, I need one of these too. It's a no-brainer. Once they see it and they get the concept, it's a no-brainer.
Thank you so much. So this last question is actually from Minutemen International, and let me just reiterate what that means. All of the franchises internationally, their social media account comes to Print Shop, and they have this specific question for their print shops, I'm assuming. What is your crawl, walk, run advice for printers in regard to stepping into the wide format arena and becoming players in their local markets? Because remember, Minutemen serves a local market. So let's actually start with Brian, and we'll just go down the row.
So the best advice I can give you is to come to shows like this, get education online, follow everyone on social media. We put all of our good ideas on social media. Come to the shows, learn everything. So there's your crawl. And then once you figure out what you want to do, what do you want to make, what do you want to create, and what do you want to sell, then seek out the right products, and then get trained on how to use them effectively. That'll save you a lot of time and money in trial and error. And then, of course, get it all set up and running. And what you'll find is once you have wide format, some people may even think to start out small and see how it goes. But quickly, what you'll find is once you offer something, once you have wide format and you start to offer it, everybody comes asking for more, and wider stuff and bigger stuff and faster and everything. So be prepared for that. So don't always just skimp out on the lowest cost machine. Get something that you can grow into. That would be my advice.
Thanks so much. Tom, Minutemen International wants to know, Corowalk one advice for printers stepping into wide format in their local areas.
Okay, what I would say is know what you want to do, understand what is the application that you want to do, and then research it, understand what the printer is, the best printer you can get for that application, okay? And also try and think ahead that once you are into that application, are there others that you want to get into also? So what are some of the adjacent markets so that you're covered in that way too? But beyond that, you want to know the market, you want to know your competitors. Who are you going to be competing against? What are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? And then What is your competitive advantage in the marketplace? How are you going to set yourself apart and not be just a me too? And finally, when you've got that figured out, be absolutely the best. Be determined to be the best in the market and put your customers number one. Service the heck out of them.
Thank you so much, Tom and HP. Matt, GPA?
Yeah, some great points about that. I think one of the things that we probably need to think about when we're getting into wide format, or you're deciding that you want to go into this side, is really choosing your partners. And there's a lot of great partners up here for equipment. There's a lot of great partners out there for media. But as you get into it a little bit, the conversation about finishing equipment was a great point, because it's most of the time everybody's just thinking about the printer. As you get further into it and try to understand the applications, at some point you're going to ask yourself why there's 64 different options for wall graphic, or why are there 57 different types of ink that we can print with. So having a partner that can help you understand that when you have that question, because the point is to print the job, make money, keep the customer, exceed their expectations, print another job for them later on. So I think one of the most important things would be in selecting your partners carefully.
Thank you so much, and thanks again for your partnership. Avanti, Stephen.
Sure. In addition to what my peers have said here, one of the key things, I'm going to borrow an expression from the financial industry, which is know your customer. The more that you know your customer, what their needs are, and how you can be responsive to their needs and being a partner to them, the better you can grow your business with them. In a lot of instances, we want to understand who are my profitable customers, who are the ones that are costing me money. And without a good data, good historical data in terms of the business you've had with them, it's very, very difficult to stay abreast of where I can manage my business. In addition to that, you want to also understand, how can I predict what my customers are going to be needing? The buying history, being able to ensure that I'm doing planned purchasing as an example. The more that I can predict what I'm going to need, then I can make sure that I'm not keeping stuff on the shelf and in inventory and therefore losing money on it. I can want to bring in what I need, when I need it, for what I need to be able to do. So these are some of the things that with software like PrintMIS gives you an opportunity to be able to manage all of that, manage your customer, and not be the proverbial tail being wagged by the dog.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for your partnership and for being part of the Printerverse. Rico.
Along that same note, I think the most important thing, especially smaller printers in a regional community can do, is dialogue with their customers about what they're buying, because as I spoke earlier, we know they are buying wide format from somebody. Odds are you just don't know who that is. So once you get an understanding of who they are and what they're buying, there's your first path towards revenue, which is to grow your business with them and grow that sort of wallet share with them. But just as importantly, if you look in a small community, normally served by a franchise, once they identify the products that their existing customers are purchasing, the next most logical question is, who am I not selling anything to that may be a prospect for that same product? Because
Right.
they need to grow their customer base, and a great way to do that is to create a template from where they're successful and find a way to do more of that. So once they identify their current customers' needs, it's a much easier way for them to identify new customer opportunity.
Right. I always say when a new business, the best source of print, ideas for printers is just to walk down the street. You see a new business popping up, create some sort of welcome print kit for them, just so they understand what you can do. Don't try to sell them anything. Just say, hey, you're new to the neighborhood, so I printed you a banner, and my logo just happens to be on it, but it's still free for you. And here's my business card, and here's a really cool coaster I did for my son's bar mitzvah, and here's a whatever. And have a great day, and welcome to the neighborhood, and see you around. And you kind of, I always have this conversation with Tom from HP about how, to me, like a small wide format machine is like the gateway drug to like the opportunity that's really out there. So you made a very poignant point there. And I just want to thank Rico again for joining the Alliance. Third year, we're just going to say $3. Dollard is in my booth. Don't even start with the Patriots, I'm warning you. Okay, Randy, last but not least.
Yes, I would say if a print provider is looking to enter a new market, definitely understand the market, understand the competition and what they provide, and then look at what they don't provide, because that might be a good differentiator. So think of something that you have to have the customer come to you And you can also do all the other stuff that your competitor does. And definitely understand what they're charging and what you charge and what your costs are. Too often you'll see competitive quotes written on a napkin and they don't know if they're going to make any money. So have a good understanding of what costs go into producing the applications. And get the word out. You have to make yourself noticed. Involve the design community. Let them give you ideas on what you can produce. Show them what they can design for. And really that synergy is what drives the business forward.
Thank you guys so much. This has been a really great panel. I hope everyone found it a valuable use of their time. I certainly did. We'll be back tomorrow. It's Girls Who Print Day tomorrow. All the girls who are in the booth now, if you want to take a picture with the tiara before it gets given away, see Mary Beth Smith. And a special thanks to Sandy Hubbard, who's been manning the Twitter account all day. Mary Beth Smith, Girls Who Print. My mom back there, Lady Scan-A-Lot. I'm sure she all scanned you when you first came in. Andy, the Printiversian with the Dealy Boppers on. Mandy, our videographer, she's been awesome. Jack, our photographer, amazing. Jamie, the printer, the man with the questions on hand. I believe that's everybody. McCormick Place, Freeman, everybody, GASC, MPES, everyone's been awesome.